Parkside Bridal Boutique and Chantilly Bridal Boutique present their collections of 1984 bridal gowns, bridesmaids dresses, and accessories. Black and Pink tuxedo wear, Sounds Great Music Services, The Bride's Room, Artona Photographic Studios.
You've changed it.
Life, London Cutlery, Kelowna Wines, Classic Limousines, and the Time
Okay, fine.
will all be there. If you're planning to be married in 1984, don't miss this spectacular show. Sunday, January 15th at the Bayshore Hotel at 2 and 7 p.m.
Woodward's Food Floor is the only place that gives you this kind of choice. First is Woodward's biggest selection of name brands that you trust for quality and flavor. Then there's Woodward's own brands. They're made up to a quality, not down to a price, but great value. And when economy is the most important buying decision, there's unbranded products, low-priced every day. Remember, for a great choice and good, honest value.
Woodward's has it all. BCTV, we're giving it all we got.
Good morning. In 1948, a man called George Orwell wrote a book called 1984, and in it he said, "The lottery, with its weekly payout of enormous prizes, was the one public event to which the proles paid serious attention. There were millions of proles for whom the lottery was the principal, if not the only reason for remaining alive." And funnily enough, that quote from 84 goes on to say, the lottery was their delight, their folly, their anodyne, their intellectual stimulant. Even people who could barely read and write seemed capable of intricate calculations and staggering feats of memory. There was a whole tribe of men who made a living simply by selling forecasts, systems, and lucky amulets. And here's the man who heads the tribe of men which now is Canada's shame, the lottery system. Here's the man who runs the legalized racket, which gives payouts of 45% on the dollar, a ratio which even the mafia would be sorely embarrassed about. Here's the man who runs this fantastic, demeaning, disgusting lottery gamble in Canada, which is turning us into a banana republic. And he knows as well as I do that such is the lack of moral fiber of our leadership, provincially and federally, that if anybody, now that the proles, that's the proletarians, now that the proles have been baffled and hypnotized by this, that if any government attempted to cancel or wipe out this legalized racket, they would be thrown out of office. Sure, we see all kind of chintzy little television commercials about how wonderful it helps us with our health equipment. Balderdash. About how great it is for sports. Balderdash. We know well that in British Columbia, the little picayune sums of money we get from the Western Canada Lottery are, and this charge has been substantiated, used for forms of political payola in social credit ridings. This is a tax on the poor. This is the most non-beneficial tax that has ever been imposed on the people of Canada, who now have a worldwide record of sucking at the tit of immoral and amoral gambling systems. Every person in this country now is sitting greedily with that cupidity in their eyes, thinking, can I take another $10 out of my welfare check? Another $100 out of my old age pension and CPP, and buy one of the systems which they'll permutate and computate for you in the hopes of instant euphoria. Guy Simonis is general manager of the Western Canada Lottery Foundation, which I say is a legalized racket. Had it been done more before 1968, people would be jailed for fraud. But it's legal, clean, and demeaning. Mr. Simonis will have his say, and you will have your questions to him after the break. Here is the Western Canada Lottery Foundation 9th annual report. Tells you next to nothing. Tells you next to nothing. Are your books fully publicly open?
Yes, sir.
Every single expense and salary?
Every single cent and salary. We have auditors of each and every one of the 4 provinces.
How much money do you make a year?
Almost as much as you do.
Answer the question,
I
sir.
was
Please, with respect.
I make the salary equivalent to a deputy minister.
You get a deputy minister's salary, so you get between $65,000 and $90,000 a year. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're the highest paid member of the Western Canada Lottery Foundation.
Yes, sir.
Right now, if I want to see the breakdown of the expenses and a detailed list of all the distributions of what's left for the mugs, can I get it in your office in Winnipeg?
No.
Why not?
Well, you have as detailed as I've got there. It says they're Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. And when you ask me where the money goes, the answer for me as an administrator is easy. It goes to the Parliament buildings in Victoria.
And what they do with it is entirely their business under the interprovincial or whatever it is lottery agreement.
Yeah, we are to the government what the tax department is. You might be a tax collector, but that doesn't give you a say in how the tax that is.
You are, in fact, a tax collector.
I would quarrel with that. A tax, to my definition, is something that is, you use the word imposed. It's not imposed on anybody. There's a contradiction in terms, like military intelligence, you know, a voluntary tax. Now, how in heaven's name can a tax be voluntary when the word tax implies that it's imposed on you? This is a consumer item.
That's right. It's like running a house of prostitution or like running anything else that the public will go for, even if it's not desirable. In other words, the monies are properly accounted for and distributed according to the agreement. But what about the moral standard?
Well,
I call it a legalized racket.
No, you skipped over something very lightly. You said 45% is immoral and it's a rip-off. They wouldn't allow it in Las Vegas, I think you said.
Then they wouldn't.
But do you have any idea, you see what's going on this week, if we gave more than 45%, it would go crazier still. The 45% is a nice...
That is the most specious rationalization I've ever had in my life. That if you gave a bigger prize, it would go even crazier.
Yes, that's why it's 45%. The government reasons this way. There is an instinct as old as mankind that puts its faith in chance. You might moralize against that in 1984, but it's as old as the Bible. The Roman soldiers drew lots for the robe. I mean, that was a lottery. You might say that's immoral, but it's as old as mankind. And people believe in the idea that there is somehow a chance. Those moralists who preach that if you invest $1 million and then you don't win, or you invest $1, you don't win $1 million, next Saturday you're going to jump off the roof and kill yourself. That's nonsense.
We'll get back to that later. Just take $1, please.
Yes.
And split $1 for me.
45.
When I give my $1 to the blank-eyed clerk who sells me my gambling ticket, where does the dollar go?
You say the clerk is blind?
Blank-eyed.
Oh, blank-eyed. Oh, yeah, okay.
They're all blank-eyed.
Well, no wonder they're too busy.
Stunned. Right.
Now, first 45 cents goes into the prize pot.
Right.
Every dollar, 45 cents goes into the prize pot.
Big deal.
The storekeeper gets 5 cents.
Sometimes.
Always.
You cover all the lotteries.
All the lotteries.
You do the Lucky Amulet instant ticket, don't you? You do Western Express,
Yes.
you do the Provincial,
Yes.
you do Super Lotto,
Yes.
and you do this crazy 649.
Right on.
Are commissions across the board 5% or do they change?
No, they change. I'm referring to...
Well, okay, we'll take 649. 45 cents to the mug.
Right.
5 cents to commission, that's 50 cents.
Right. The whole system to operate, computers, advertising, every nickel spent in expenses, 12 cents.
62 cents.
38 cents to public purposes, of which the federal government, right up front, whether business is good or bad, takes 30 million. And this year, with inflation, they'll take 34 million. They can't lose. They take 34 million off the top from the provincial lottery.
Let me get that. 45 cents to the mugs, 5 cents commission, 12 cents for advertising, promotion, TV time,
everything.
And all your fancy guys that stand there and pick the drums.
Travel to appear on Webster show.
That's legitimate.
I know. Well, there's at least one legitimate expense.
And 38 cents to governments. Is that correct?
Correct. For public purposes, as it said.
Yeah, in other words, they can do with it as they wish. That's 100 cents on the dollar.
Yep.
Right, next question.
All right.
How many tickets will you sell, do you anticipate, for Saturday's draw of Lotto, of 649?
649. Now, let's take it in pieces so I don't get misquoted. In Canada, I expect 45 million from coast to coast, from Newfoundland to Vancouver Island. In Western Canada alone, we will come close to 10 million. And in British Columbia, we'll get at least close to 6 out of this.
Now, is there only one prize for the whole nation?
Oh, no, there's
I'm
thousands.
talking about the one big prize.
Yes, there's only one pot. It's one game.
One game for the whole nation.
One game for the whole nation.
So out of that 45 million, half of 45, about how much will be in prize money? 20 million?
Yeah, that's plus what was held over from last week, 7 million.
7 million, 27 million.
That's what's...
What will the 1-6 correct numbers win this week?
Well, now, that's a question I don't mind talking about. Now, is somebody going to win that? There's no guarantee that somebody's going to pick those 6 numbers. On the other hand, let me tell you that if the number 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 comes up, and 11, those what I call cute numbers, there are going to be 6,000 people sharing that because a whole bunch of people standing in line, all playing 1, 3, 5, 7.
What will they share?
They will share. Let's start at the bottom. If you get 3 out of the 6 correct, you will win $10. That's the fixed payout for 3 correct. So what we do out of that prize pool, say there will be about 800,000, I would say, close to 1 million people who will have 3 right. Statistically, that's...
$1 million. No, it's 10 million.
That's 10 million. Mm-hmm. Then what is left is split up between those who have 4 out of the 6 right, 5 out of the 6 right, 5 out of the 6 right, plus an extra bonus number that we have, and the jackpot is shared by those who have all 6 right. Now, each of these little compartments gets their share of the prize pool. They get a percentage of it.
I understand that. What will a single winner? I want to encourage this cupidity, greed, and dope for the masses.
Yeah.
What will a single winner conceivably get? And we won't hold you to it.
All right. Would you want the low or the high? The highest is one guy with 10 million.
One guy with 10 million.
And that's very unlikely.
I trust you will publicize his name and address forthwith and not tell us that for the sake of his privacy you're going to keep it secret.
Yeah, you know, that troubles me, and I'm talking now personally. Our rules and regulations say that the winner must identify himself and give a picture. Now, I'm an immigrant. I come from the Netherlands, in Europe, the lotteries have been a long, long time. They haven't destroyed the moral fiber. We'll talk about that.
In Amsterdam,
we'll talk about
they have. In Amsterdam, but that's...
Oh, yeah, that's not even Holland. That's,
right.
You threw me off there about Amsterdam.
Sure I
No,
did.
there is a law there.
My plan is to throw you off all morning.
The law there is that if the onus is on the winner to declare himself. The lottery is legally bound to keep it quiet. I for one, would not mind if that was a regulation.
But as it
imposed.
stands now, the winner must be identified.
Well, and you see, there's the other half of the paranoia of the public.
You don't tell who the winner is, and people will be after you in mobs. You'll be accused of all kinds of things.
Absolutely. And at the same time, as somebody who wrote me a letter, isn't releasing the name a recipe for terrorism. Isn't that what it is?
A recipe for kidnapping.
Well, that's what they meant.
Well, you started it, not you, sir, but the government started this mess, and the government must now take responsibility for anything that happens from here on in.
Lotteries aren't a source for kidnapping. Bank managers have been held up and so
But
on. I think a great deal of money, it would trouble me to, you see, the last thing we need to exploit a person like that. We don't need any exploiting. We haven't run an ad for 649 the last 4 weeks. We didn't have to. But that would be exploiting a person, I think. If you put him at risk for the cynical purpose of exploiting him and say, here's a guy who last week worked as a bricklayer and now he's $1 million, that's exploiting it. I, for one, would be against that.
Except that there's so much hysteria in this country today, including yours truly, that if you don't give the name, you'll be in trouble.
They'll storm the office.
More with Guy Simonis, General Manager of Western Canada Lottery Foundations from Winnipeg. He runs the whole of the 4 Western provinces, all of the lotteries, right?
All the big ones.
All the big ones. All the official legalized rackets after the break. Will the names of any instant or any really big money winners be published on Saturday, yes or no? Be published on Saturday, yes or no?
Yes.
That's fair enough. Are your computers, much as I disapprove of it, going to break down again and cause great crises before Saturday?
Well, let's talk about that. You know, I've talked to our computer people, and they don't seem to speak any language known to mankind. At least I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I've asked for an explanation in English so that I could tell what's going on. Now, if you think of that 6:49 game as a football game, and you think of the parking lot outside as the computer, the capacity of the computer, and the football game is about to start, and the traffic comes in from all sides. Well, now you are forced to wait at intersections and what have you. Now, the parking lot's capacity, which is a computer, is just fine. There's nothing wrong with the parking lot. And the game is going to start on time whether you get there or not, by the way. But the roads leading to the parking lot are clogged. And the more people get in there, the more there are waits. So that we have two types of traffic cops. One is the electronic type that says, hold at this line, of which 12 machines are on. You wait until those guys are finished. Now you come through. And then there's a live breathing traffic cop that says, listen, it's now 2 o'clock in Winnipeg. Those people have had their chance. Now the noon hour starts in British Columbia. Let's put Manitoba to rest at 2 o'clock because people go back to work. Let's give British Columbia a chance. Now, we're not pleasing anybody. I see you smiling and giving a chance, but those people can get pretty mad at waiting. So it wouldn't be saying there's nothing smoking, there's nothing broken down, it's not the inferior quality of equipment, it's simply the traffic that's doing it to us.
That's a good and a reasonably straightforward explanation. You don't need more machines, you merely need less demand.
I need less demand, or if you want to, buy it at odd hours. Buy early in the morning, or don't buy at the rush hour. And above all, I wouldn't try Friday night or Saturday morning.
That's right. Get out of the old folks' homes as early as you can. and no, I'm serious. You see these poor old people who can't afford the damn ticket, lining up there to buy them, and you're robbing them of the food in their mouths.
No, I'll tell you something. Let me look into that camera. Your chances to win
are nil.
Not nil. Just because only one person in Great Britain can be the queen, and that chance is 1 in 50 million, don't tell me there's no queen.
Well, carry on.
All right.
Look into the camera.
Your chances
Tell them
are
the shameful
remote.
chance.
A couple of dollars spent on the sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach that no matter how remote, at the end of this week, your life could be changed. No matter how remote, is worth the thrill. If you spend money that you should spend on food, on groceries, don't do it. And don't think that spending $50 is going to make your chances any better, because it isn't.
$1 is as much chance as $50.
You only need
Oh, yes.
one.
Now, would you please look into that camera again? Put it on Guy Simonis. And tell the children, the youngsters who are gambling, at what age Mummy and Daddy should give them money to go out and do the instant scratch and play 649. You know, what age? 5, 6?
Well,
when they can read and write?
I would like to talk to the children now. A, don't do that because you have better ways to spend your money. But if you do it, put your mommy's name on it, because if you ever win, the public trustee is going to hold the money until you're old enough to spend it. So while you might buy a ticket, which we don't really want you to do, we won't give you the prize if you're under the age of majority.
And that age of majority is what now, please?
Well, it's different in these provinces. 19 years.
19, I think,
Yeah,
here,
19.
and 20 and 21 in some other places. But you don't mind the kids gambling.
Yes, I do.
You didn't say don't gamble. You just said put it in Mummy's name.
No, I said if you do. I said
If you do
I said
gamble.
don't do it, but if you do. And by the way, the incidence of kids playing, let me talk about that. You know, there is something about lotteries. When you look at the profile, people don't start playing lotteries anywhere until they get in their 25, 26, 27. Now, I'm not a psychologist, but I believe that people, when they're young and full of vim and vinegar and they're coming out of school, they are going to make it on their own. They're going to make it. They don't believe in lotteries.
What you're telling me is that the vast majority in normal lotteries, not this panic-stricken instant hysteria, are old people.
Yeah, they're more mature. They figured out that...
People over 45.
Yeah.
And the poor, especially the poor.
No, especially not the poor. You see, that's cynical on your part. You think you equate that because people are poor, they're stupid.
No. They're
Well,
going to take a chance and a gamble.
Nah, they know. Well, how often would they do that?
You know as well as I do that they
How stupid would they be? They don't win next week, and they're going to do it next week again for 10 years in a row. They're not stupid.
Just put me down as cynical. I think
You
people
may be cynical,
will
but
spend their food money on this.
But they're not poor
nothing
because they're
chance.
stupid.
Have you done any surveys of who buys?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll tell you who buys. As I said, up to 25, generally they're not interested. They're going to make it on their own. From 25 to 45 is a group that plays, and it's the middle class that plays. You know, the average income the very average income is $25,000. Now, then, you know, when they start playing heavily, when they're 55, 65.
That's what I was telling you.
And not because they're poor, is want to give it to their kids.
In a fact sheet which you very kindly sent to me, it says the following abominable stuff. Did you write this, by the way?
Probably. If it's abominable, I probably did.
Gambling, like many other human desires, is healthy as long as it doesn't degenerate into an obsession.
Absolutely.
The degenerate player blames many things, including the lottery, when he doesn't win.
Yeah.
Yet degenerate play helps the lottery industry.
Read the rest.
Just a minute. You welcome the degenerate play.
Read the rest. Don't quote out of context. They
But
help.
perhaps only as much as alcoholism helps the government liquor stores.
That's it. In other words, it's a pain in the neck. Who needs these people? We don't need those.
So you plead guilty to pandering to a degenerate obsession of many Canadians.
No, I don't ban cars because there's 100 people who drive drunken and kill somebody.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't, and I don't think we should. What is a harmless pastime for 99.999% of the population, ban that because there's 4 or 5 idiots.
Next question. And this is hypothetical, but this is the man in the pub question. This is the 9-year-old question, or the 95-year-old question. If you don't have a single winner this Saturday, will you put a limit? What will you do? Break it down to 5 number wins?
No, I can't do that. You know, I mean, there is a set of regulations that's approved, and you can't change in the midstream. But I'll tell you this, that there have been some discussions, especially with our American colleagues, whether on these types of games there ought not to be a cap put on the lottery winnings, where you say you stop it, no matter where you stop, it'll be some obscene amount, $4 or $5 million. But then you put it into lower prizes. We never expected 2 things to happen. We never expected 2 things to happen. One is that the jackpot was not won in a row 4 times, and then when it got up to $3.5 million, the next thing we did not anticipate was this public response, this sudden blossoming of people who had never played before. That was, then on top of that, all mathematical probabilities, and you're going to quote me some, I see, told me that, you know, it takes 14 million predictions to secure a winner, a full field. So we have 38 million. That tells me that every number, theoretically, should be covered 3 times. That tells me there should be at least, statistically, and all these professors that talk to you, should be 3 winners. And I'm standing at that computer on Saturday, and it comes up. 0, that one combination nobody picked. Now what the heck are the chances against that? That is the real odds.
In other words, your computer will tell you instantly how many winners after it searches the bank of gambles.
Absolutely.
Gambles.
Predictions.
Predictions is the word I was looking for. So under the present regulations, you cannot cut a single jackpot, even if it went after 10 no-wins, to $100 million.
Well, they're conceivably now. You could, the governments could order the game to stop, rewrite and republish the regulations. That's theoretically.
But as of this moment, you can't do.
No. So let's hope it's one.
Okay.
I couldn't stand another week of this.
I made one nasty remark at the beginning you didn't get a chance to respond to. That if a private operator tried to run a lottery like this, he'd be jailed for fraud, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
So it is a legalized racket.
No, it is every civilized country in the world.
Civilized? Mexico.
Come on.
Peons in the street.
Come on.
Spain. Haven't you ashamed
West Germany, the highest outproducing Canada on the per worker.
High level of unemployment.
The Netherlands.
The same desperation as the free enterprise system fritters away at the edges.
France, the Soviet Union.
Peru.
Poland.
Nicaragua. Manila, the Philippines. I mean, it's a sign of desperation.
The United States.
Yeah, with 26 million unemployed or something. More with Guy Simonis after the break. Guy Simonis is general manager of the Western Canada Lottery Foundation. How long have you had this job?
Since 2 years before the lottery started. I'm into my 12th year.
Do you buy lottery tickets?
Yes, sir.
How much do you spend a year in lottery tickets?
I tell you exactly what a year, maybe 50.
Wow.
I'm $50, $60. But I've got one ticket in this week.
Because if you win it...
Can I give you the numbers? Can I give you the numbers?
But people will buy your numbers.
Oh, no, better not.
Write down the numbers. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. If you win it, you'll get shot. I mean,
yeah, but I'll be away. I can see the quote now. As the plane landed in Europe, and Mr. Simonis, the former general manager, said, Webster who?
No. You wanted to come back on the legality of it. I call it a legalized
All right,
racket.
let's talk about that. Lotteries in every civilized country, or Western country, are illegal. It was long recognized that the gamble is a human impulse that can get out of hand.
Like sex.
Well, so every nation took this position. Lotteries are illegal, period. However, since the gambling urge is, if you don't do something, is going to creep up elsewhere, like the Irish sweepstake and all these other things.
With the counterfeit tickets.
With the counterfeit tickets being mailed from New York. Then the next thing you know, you have a lottery, but you don't control it. Now, the next step, I'm not a legislator, I'm not defending it, but the next step is that if they're going to do it anyway, then let's have it and let's control it. Mm-hmm. Now, yes, you're right, it's something illegal that's made legal, but it's under controlled conditions. You could have it underground and uncontrolled, and I wonder what you'd be saying then. Mind you, the guy who'd run it wouldn't be sitting on your television show.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the NDP, which has got a policy of legalized whorehouses. The Liberals have a policy of legalized gambling. And you'd agree with me that no government would dare withdraw the lotteries now.
I don't think they would, no.
It's
kind of popular.
Now, I'm going to go to the phones for some considerable time this morning, but I want to get a couple of points on some of the other odd aspects of this mania. You've got, how many? You've got instant.
Yes, sir.
You call that, oh yes, we'll sell you a Western ticket plus a good luck attachment.
Yeah.
That's 1984, isn't it?
No, well, give me a chance on that.
A Western Express ticket plus an instant cash voucher.
Yes, sir.
That's 1984.
Yeah.
A Western Express ticket plus an additional free Western Express for the same draw.
Yes, sir.
You are brutal promoters. Before I forget, on the 649, can I, who have $1 or two, can I go in there today with $500 and buy a combination without filling in cards?
No.
Can I go in and put in 5 numbers plus a wild number, or 5 or a 6 or a 9 combination, and the computer will buy my tickets for me?
$44, yes, sir.
$44.
Well, if you buy 5, then what you're really buying is 5, along with every one of the remaining 44 numbers. Now, we do that because people in groups, like I bet you groups around here.
Not in this station.
Well, I wouldn't know. But they get together, and listen to here say, no, they're waving their tickets a minute ago. They could put $2 or $3 together, and you could fill in 44 different slots. But do you realize many foolish things are happening? people are doing the same set of predictions twice. Now, what are you doing? If you ever win, you share with yourself. That's not a very smart idea. If you're going to spend $2, at least put 2 different sets of predictions in. So these combinations are there for groups to decide on which 5 numbers, but essentially they're getting the 6th one free because you've covered every possibility. Now, group play is reasonably popular.
Do you see what they're selling now?
Yeah? Oh, that's ours, yeah.
Is that yours? Do you give that out, 649?
Yeah, these must be the amulets that George Orwell was referring
dead
to.
on, the lucky amulets from George Orwell.
Yeah.
You'd read the book before you took the job.
And yes, no. The irony of it, it was printed or released in the 6th month of 48. Had it only been released 1 year later, it would have been 649.
Now, a couple of questions which my gambling friends
Those things are
want me
about
to
$1.50.
ask.
They're good. They help you
Is
decide
it
your
correct?
numbers.
In how many lotteries, apart from 649, which on the face of it appears to be scrupulously fair and that everybody's in the pot,
Yeah.
but in the other in how many other lotteries do you almost cheat the public in a way? No, I don't mean
okay.
cheat that
All
way.
right.
By putting in the unsold numbers.
All right, that's good. Good. Now, that's a question that'll come up on that phone. I
Right.
bet you one of those, maybe we
Okay.
can cancel
In other
4
words,
calls.
let's put it more politely.
Yeah.
My chances of winning in the other lotteries are reduced by the fact
No.
you put in the unsold numbers.
No, sir.
Do you remember when the Royal Bank won $500,000?
No. Let's run a simple lottery, you and I, and just for the heck of it, we got 52 cards. Okay.
Right.
We'll put them on the table, and I say to you, each card costs $1. Now, take one, buy one. Your chances, I have another deck up here. What are the chances that the card I pull matches yours?
52 to 1.
Right. Now, if I sell all the tickets, all the cards to these people around here, what are your chances?
52 to 1.
If I only sell you one, what's your chances?
52 to 1.
Well, how am I cheating you by not selling
Well,
the
I'll
others?
tell you why you're cheating me. If you sell 1 million tickets on the on Super Lotto,
Yeah.
right? If you print 1 million tickets on
Yeah.
Super Lotto,
Yeah.
correct? And you only sell 750,000.
Yes.
There are 250,000. 1 in 4 of the drawn numbers could be won by an unsold ticket.
No.
Why
You see,
not?
But you see, when you buy your lottery tickets, this is what you're buying. It says, if this ticket that you have in your hand, which has the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if that is drawn on BCTV, then you will win
But that-
$100,000. I have a contract with you that says if this number is drawn, I will give you $100,000. I don't make a deal that if this number is not drawn. This is what you're buying, this number.
I'm talking about my chance. If
You're-
there are 1 million
So am
tickets in
I.
the drum and 250,000 are unsold tickets,
Yes.
I only have a chance of 1 in 750,000.
No, it remains the same. You just don't answer me with the cards. If you take one of those cards, your chances are 1 in 52.
I see. You're saying the pot won't be as big.
The pot is the same size. No, the pot, it doesn't matter. We guarantee the prize. Your chances do not change.
And then you get into
Your
all
chances
this.
do not change.
One of the great complaints that people have is they never know when they've won a prize in your other lotteries. Is it correct that when you draw $500, $10,000 prizes, that I have to check 500 different numbers?
Yes, sir.
And you only draw 10 of those on the telly.
Yes, sir.
And many people don't know that they have to look at another 490 numbers.
Well, in the news release that we let go out, and there's clearly stated, and on the tickets too, it says there will be 500 bonus prizes.
I know, but I'm talking about the average guy.
Well, the average
who
guy.
enables you to parlay unclaimed prizes into massive bonuses of
Yeah.
motor cars and this
Yeah.
and that. That's inefficient.
To 500 numbers is inefficient.
No, this rolling over the unclaimed prizes.
Well, no, it isn't. This is what is happening. If in the prize pool is covered with 45 cents out of every dollar. From that, we meet every prize claim. Now, you made a point a little while ago that the Royal Bank won $500,000.
$500,000.
All right.
Because every buyer has to pay for his
Right.
pouches.
If out of our prize pool never goes to the government, never goes to some unnumbered Swiss bank account, It doesn't go to the mafia, it doesn't go to the general manager, it doesn't go to operating funds, it can only go one way, and that's back to the public in bonus prizes. That's the only way it can go. So there is no advantage to us to have unclaimed prizes.
What happened to that Royal Bank one? They kept the money, didn't
Oh,
they?
I don't know.
Remember they won $500,000.
Well, you see, but the thing is this, the Royal Bank can buy a ticket just as well as you can.
Most of the pouches are sealed pouches, forget the Royal Bank. And if I have bought from you, say, 10,000 pouches, can I return to, as a retailer of some kind?
Yes.
Can I return them to you and get my money back if untouched?
Right.
I can.
Yes, within a week of the end of the draw.
Okay, I'm going to throw Guy Simonis to his devoted followers and admirers.
You were thinking of George Orwell.
Yeah, it was George Orwell, Guy Simonis, both the same. They want to brainwash a bunch of proles. After the break. If I or any poor idiot wins the $10 million, is it tax-free in his own hand?
Yes.
Gambling winnings are not taxable.
Well, it's called windfall.
Windfall.
Windfalls are not taxable. But now let's talk about this. If, and the chance is remote that somebody's going to walk off with $10 million, but that interest is about $3,000. How much is it? Yeah, it's about $3,000 a day. That interest is taxable.
Maximum tax it will be on the interest on $10 million,
Yes.
There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
But the capital amount itself, was it you who advised any winner wants to have the check delivered? Will you deliver the check to a tax haven outside Canada?
No.
You will give the check to a man in Canada and he's free to go to a tax haven if he wants
It's a
to?
free country. Now, let me talk. There's some rumors abroad that I heard on some radio station that if you're a group, then the winnings become taxable. Let me talk. The winnings are not taxable. What probably is being confused that if you won $10 million and all of a sudden you face that you've only got so many years left in life and you start giving it away, then you're subject to gift taxes. Now, what's a good idea with a group when you buy in a group? Don't forget, if Sammy Glick, whatever his name is, puts his name on it representing the group, he gets the check for the $10 million. You better have some arrangement, and some of these group buying forms are at the stores.
Because Sammy Glick or Jackie Webster might just walk away with a total check.
That is it.
So all you people in groups, and you obviously don't trust your fellow workers because you're filled with cupidity and greed, go to a lawyer now and pay $500 today for a trust agreement.
No.
In case you win.
No. Many of these agreements are at the store, and it has nothing to do with not trusting your friends. It has to do straighten things out, prevent.
You mean you can get a
difficulties.
group agreement at the store?
It's been there for 10 years.
You supply group agreement?
Well, certainly we try to keep people out of trouble. Is that wrong?
The standard of morality as exhibited by the organization for which you work under federal legislation is appalling.
You mean we should just let people walk into trouble? Once we're running this thing, let's be guiding them a bit.
It should be taken away. I'm going to start a new evangelical group and put you out of business. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Webster. He's a very affable person, but he's been less than truthful.
I wouldn't say that. He may not have made something.
When you asked him what his salary, whether he was on salary, he said he was earning a deputy minister's salary, but he's on salary plus commission based on ticket sales.
No, sir.
One second. Sir, is that your total salary or do you get a commission based on ticket sales?
I get a salary with no incentives, percentages, gifts, briberies, or anything. It's a salary.
Reasonable out-of-pocket expenses.
Oh, yes.
Well, sir,
And with receipts.
with receipts. Yeah. And no local joke, you don't buy Puy Fuisi on the road.
I don't even like it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Much obliged. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, the winning should be a little higher. There should be 85 to 90 cents on the dollar because it's a form of indirect taxation. And secondly, arbitrarily taking 1% off to the seller of the winning ticket is totally unacceptable. It's my right to give the person the winnings. If I want to give him a prize, that's my right. Thank you.
All right. Well,
Thank you. Let's take that point.
okay, well, he's right.
All sellers get 1% of every winning ticket.
Wrong.
Answer question.
Nothing. They get nothing.
Who gets 1% of any money?
Nobody.
Is that a commonly held?
No. In the province of Quebec, because the commissions on the other games are so much less than we have here, instead of paying storekeepers for the work they do, they run a lottery with their storekeepers, and they say, if you have the remote luck of selling a $1 million prize, we will give you 1%. That's only in Quebec. We pay our retailers for what they do.
On their commission?
On their commission.
Yeah.
So this gentleman is wholeheartedly
wrong.
He's wrong, and I agree with him.
I thought that too. I thought if you won $1 million, you had to give 1%.
No, it's some news release coming out of Quebec. It's wrong.
Much obliged to that. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Jack. I remember one morning I was in a bank and I was talking to my loans manager. I couldn't help but notice 3 boxes full of Western lottery tickets. And I says, what are you doing with all these lottery tickets? She says, oh, they're just going back to the Western lottery. Well, the way I see it is, they sell a third, they mass produce 2/3, they know they're going to get their winning numbers back. Law averages predicts. They're winning their own lottery by, instead of paying out prizes, getting all their money back.
You answered that to some extent.
I said it would cancel all the calls on that question, but obviously I was wrong. No, you are quite right. Unsold tickets do come back, and as we discussed earlier, that does not affect your odds or your chances to win in the least. It does not affect them. And besides that, we can't win our own lottery because all the money that's in the prize pool is in trust and can only go for prizes.
You mean, in other words, that money does go for bonus prizes?
Yes, sir. There is,
These winning numbers do come back to you.
It's quite possible that we will go.
Some of the unclaimed prizes will be among the unsold tickets.
Absolutely.
And 45 cents still go into the prize pool.
Absolutely.
Shameful
How are you going to
level
know
it
which ones
is.
aren't sold if the lottery is this week?
Pardon me?
They're not going to get back to you on time.
No, they're not. The retailer can sell those tickets right up to draw time, and some even sell them after the draw,
Right.
and they have the privilege of returning unsold, untampered with tickets for the total price that they paid for it.
Are you saying then that the money that you get back, the unsold tickets, the winning numbers, go back to the public as bonus prizes? And it's not digested back into the lottery to make you people richer?
Well, now, you people, you're one of those people because the public at large makes the money. But no, the 45% of all dollar sales goes into the prize pot. All claims are met from that. And anything that is remaining after the prize pool has met all the claims is put back into prizes.
That's right. But if there is a winning ticket in an unsold one, that doesn't affect the prize pool because you haven't sold it.
That's right.
The unclaimed prizes which come forward as bonuses are from tickets sold where the mugs haven't claimed the prize.
That's right.
How long do you give the mugs, the proles, to claim the prize?
Our respected citizens have up to a year to claim.
You should have been a politician. You turned that round on me very nicely indeed. You'd not only call them mugs and proles. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I have 2 questions. The first one is in regards to advertising.
Yes.
The Western Canada Lottery Foundation has refused or is not putting in the newspapers aren't carrying all the numbers like the 500 numbers and that. They're saying that the newspapers have to carry the numbers as a free service, and I just wonder if this has been cleared up because we're not getting the numbers in rural areas. We're supposed to go back to our retailers so that we can buy more tickets.
Well, you're quite right. I'm having a bit of battle with the newspapers. You know, the NHL, hockey, run for professionals who earn salaries that you and I can never touch. You can find out what they had for breakfast this morning, who scored the last goal, what the length of his stick is, and whoever. That's all news designed to sell tickets for the NHL. More power to them. The stock exchange. If you're rich and you can play in the stock exchange, you can find 2 pages. Not only 2 pages, you can get hints on what you should buy and what you should sell. And if you are interested in pork bellies or the exchange of the Brazilian Cruzeiro, you can find it in your daily newspaper for free. But if you're a prole and you play the lottery, then it's not news. Then you got to pay for it to get it in the paper. But this station, when you see the number here, runs it for free.
But it only runs 1 or 2 numbers.
Yes, and what about the 500 numbers? And
oh, no. When there's 500 numbers. By the way, can I just say?
Yeah.
They're running in a major newspaper in each of our daily each of our big cities. We've only cut out a few papers, the duplication.
You're running in one paper here.
In every city in the country, we're running in the largest newspaper.
You've cut out the duplication on
Yes.
the one. Because otherwise you got to go back to the poor old disabled vet or the poor old guy who's selling tickets and bother him for a list of last week's winnings.
One more question, and that is on the scratch and win. I wonder why it doesn't say on that scratch and win ticket how many 10,000 winners there are going to be, what your odds are. It doesn't tell you nothing on it. I mean, you don't even know if there is a $10,000 prize.
Well, you do know that because it says that. But, you know, I get other complaints that there's so much information on that you need bifocals to read what's on it. Now, I'll tell you, it's 1 in 240,000 that you win $10,000.
But I've noticed any other lottery, like ESSO or any of the other ones, or even on cereal boxes, they always tell you what the odds are. And I just think that it would be more informative for the people if you would print that in.
1 in 240,000 is the same as 1 in 240 million.
I know, but how many?
Enough, ma'am, enough. I've got to carry on forever. I'll start with a call from Kamloops after the break.